Right, we're going to make flapjacks. So I've got 2 squares of greaseproof paper, and I'm going to use that to line my tins that I've got ready. I'm going to cook it in the air fryer. Now, one of the best tips I can give you is wet this and then scrunch it up to make it fit nice in your tin. So I've wet this, and then you scrunch it up and sort of wring it out a little bit. So as you can see, it's sort of all soggy, but not falling apart. And then I take my tin and I line it from side to side. But obviously, because it's wet, I can fiddle about with it until it's how I want it. And push it up the sides, put it into the corners, etc. So there you go. And look, it don't fall out either. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to do that to 2 of those. These tins I got from IKEA. They were £5 each. They fit perfect in my Ninja twin drawer. Now, I've never done this recipe before, so I'm going to obviously be learning with you, but one of the things it says to make these flapjacks is to use both jumbo oats and rolled oats to give yourself a different texture. So first you need to weigh out the oats. So what I'm doing here, so I've got a plastic bowl and it needs 450 grams of oats. So that's 225, so half and half. So this is the rolled oats, the jumbo oats. So you can see they're a lot bigger flake-wise. 450. So there we go, 450 grams of mixed oats. So I'm going to put those aside and now measure out the wet ingredients that are melted together next. So I've changed the bowl to set the scales to 0. So the next thing you need is 225 grams of butter or margarine. So 150 grams of light sugar, and then 150 grams of golden syrup. So I've got a large saucepan to transfer that all into, ready for melting as well. Now the recipe calls for brown sugar or light brown sugar, but it also says you can mix and match with a bit of caster sugar. I'm going to actually combine, because I've got some caster sugar to use up as well. So let's pour out 150 grams of that. I was always told baking has to be very, very precise, probably a gram or so either side, but very precise, whereas savoury cooking, or do what you like, but you know, let's stick with the rules and keep it precise. So let's put the sugar into the saucepan, and now weigh out the butter and the syrup. Butter next. So let's put that into the saucepan as well. So this is 150 grams of golden syrup. It's actually the same amount as sugar, but obviously it feels heavier, so there shouldn't be so much liquid, but we'll see. So 150 grams. There we go. So what was that, about six squirts? And put that into the saucepan. The other thing we need is a little bit of salt. Now, my butter is already salted and it says a teaspoon of salt, but I'm just going to do a few. I've just done 10 turns, which if you measured that out in a teaspoon, it'd be about 3/4 of a teaspoon. Salt into the oats. Let's just stir that up. And obviously you'll be mixing that into there once the mixture, the wet ingredients are melted down. So let's melt down the soft ingredients or wet ingredients. So that's melting away nicely. Let's get rid of the last few butter bits. There we go, that looks nice. So we're going to turn it off the heat and bring it onto my board. And add in the rolled oats. So I think a bit at a time to start. Well, I'll just go for it. There's all of it, all the rolled oats. So let's get these swizzled in. So what we're going to do, as you can see, it's starting to take on all the mixture. You've got to make sure all of it has been soaked by the syrup. And then we'll be baking this in the air fryer. Okay, so this is my air fryer. As you can see, it's the dual draw Ninja. So I haven't preheated this, but I'm going to put a bake setting, which goes to 160. And then I'm going to set the time, I'm going to set the time for 15 minutes for now, and then I'm going to check it. So put those in, and then obviously do number 2 and match. So they're both at 11 minutes, they're both at 160, and obviously it says bake, so now I press the middle and off we go. So this is what happens if you take them out too early, because I took this out when it was warm and still flexible, and as you can see it's broken in a couple of places. Okay, but if I move that out of the way and show you this one, so this one is fully cold and is still solid and hasn't broken up when I try and lift it with the paper. Bring it out. There we go. So I should be able to now cut this one really successfully. Okay, that one's still edible, but doesn't look as nice. So let's get a knife. That'll do. So I'm going to do 50%. And then 25%, and then straight down the middle. Okay, bit of a wobble there, and hopefully, yep, so the squares stay intact. So this can be used for your sandwich box, that's where they're going, and you could potentially freeze these and just take them out when you need them. Flapjacks.